gonna be in court. For some reason, they didn't do it in court, but it's just, I even got we tried it first.
Turn it up.
Brought us some money a long way.
Can you hear that?
I believe if Dr. King was here tonight.
Good, okay, that means I can hear it on the recording too.
One of his famous quotes.
Thank you.
I have decided to stick with love. Let me say it again. I have decided
That's a local
to
minister
stick
here.
with love. Yes, some of our police officers have gotten out of hand. And yes, some of our preachers even got out of hand.
What's his name again?
Oh, the new country preacher.
The new country preacher. That's what he's called. Been here about what?
Felix Hill.
Phoenix
Felix
Hill.
Hill.
But he's been here about 2 or 3 years now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Can you still read America? Bishop Hill, Dr. King said
And the church right there is Tuskegee or out of the county.
It's let's see. Is this church in Tuskegee?
Is it Phoenix City?
Phoenix, yeah, okay.
But he lives here.
Yeah, he lives in Macon County, but but his church is in Russell County. Yeah. Phoenix City. He was doing feeding programs and quite a few did some programs in the school kids. Reach out
because
to
we won't
them.
fight back. And some of the constituents, they nonviolent back to Dr. King. But
Okay.
it wasn't Dr. King who started nonviolent movement. It wasn't Muhammad Gandhi. But baby, it was Jesus. It was Jesus who said, I can call 12 legions of angels. But it did not. Because the right had to be done. I want y'all to take a whole look at me.
Let me know, did it bring your what's the name up? Did it bring that up?
Yeah, absolutely.
Write it up?
Yeah, definitely. I see
Oh, yeah.
part of the movie.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Big difference.
Yeah, they can see what you're thinking now.
They ain't too bright, is it?
Oh yeah, that's fine. I was trying to see if there was a blur in the middle, but I think it's okay. Jennifer, I had my John Lewis t-shirt on. Yeah, big trouble. I forgot who gave me this. Yeah, I said I'm gonna wear it today. I gotta get my Jennifer Lawson t-shirt and my Towel and Snick t-shirt. We're gonna make something happen.
September 15th, 1963.
Making civil rights, making movement. Two words on it.
I got one performing next week. They're gonna lie, you know. That's pretty good.
The strong of
After this song, we will get. After this song, we will get.
Oh, you're very clear. You're loud and clear.
Okay, but I'm wondering whether it might be even clearer if I was on my iPod.
No, I think you're good right here. You're perfect. You know, you're very loud. Matter of fact, you were louder than anybody who ever had. That was good. Yeah. You got a good reception here. My phone doesn't do that. You could hear, Jimmy, you could hear, right?
Yeah, well, I can hear real good.
That's perfect.
I can hear real good.
By the way, we're gonna next week is gonna end with Tuskegee Airmen. I'm not gonna talk about that today.
Okay,
I was letting you know.
I'm glad you let me know because you always let me sleep. I have it.
Oh, beautiful.
And now I know how.
Okay, he's about to introduce us.
All right, that's the new country preacher, y'all. After Martin Luther King speak, big shouts out to him. In the studio, we have our special guest in the building here. We always open up our Black History program with the new country preacher. That's a beautiful, beautiful song right there. I'm talking about powerful.
Yes.
It is powerful. Okay. In the building, we have none other than the legendary. Yes, sir, the walking encyclopedia. He's in the building. Y'all still gonna get big warm welcome. We got a guy in the building. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Oh man. Yes. How you doing, guy, man?
Oh, very good. I'm in the greatest station in the nation, and with the greatest DJ right here, DJ Booty Rush. Okay, we got another program for you today. You know, this is, I do believe, Black History Month, although Black History is every 365 days of the year.
That's right.
You know, we got plenty of it here in Macon County.
Right.
But we're bringing back one of our own from Tuskegee Institute College at the time, and we're going to take us back in time, back to the 60s, you know, real quick, and learn a little bit more about some things a lot of people don't know about, and probably hear some names you might have heard in history, not realizing that some of it was right here and with the Tuskegee students. But I'd like to introduce everyone right quick, and to let us say hello. We have Ms. Jennifer Lawson, who was a student up on campus back in the 60s, and was actually involved with some of the things going on. Just let us say hello right quick to the audience. This is WUBZ Radio going out over Macon County. Jennifer, say hello to the people.
Hello, Jennifer.
Thank you so much. First of all, let me thank both of you for inviting me. I'm so pleased to be on the air with you this evening. It's my pleasure to revisit Tuskegee in this way.
Wow. Okay, wonderful. Yeah. Well, we're going to get into it right away because everybody, we're traveling back in time on DJ Booty Rush's program. This is a time machine today.
That's right, we're a time machine.
That's right, we're going back. And the time you all have heard of in the 60s, there was something called the movement, okay? And my brother, they call him Trap, he told me about it. You know, he's the one that brought me this fist. It was an actual sculpture with a black fist, and it said, "The time is now, baby," or you know, the time is now. So, Jennifer, could you kind of explain what were we talking about with the movement, and you know, some of the things, and you can go right on into maybe some of the things that were taking place here in the South, and you know, maybe some of the people involved. But what exactly was the movement? What was that about?
I'd be happy to talk about that.
Okay.
The movement is really a term that is used to talk about the fact that things were changing.
Okay.
That was what was moving.
Yes.
We as African American or black people were beginning to feel that we wanted change. We wanted to see our country change for and have improvements that worked for us. And so we began to, as students there at Tuskegee and at other schools across the country, particularly the schools that are called HBCUs, or historically black colleges and universities, of which Tuskegee is one, that students began to feel that what can we as students do to make this change?
Right.
We know that things can improve, that things could be better, and that what can we do to make that change? So we started participating in marches, demonstrations. We see something that seemed like really wrong, where you say, well, why is it that we pay the same kind of tax money that white families pay, and that we're using hand-me-down books or band uniforms, or that we don't have a swimming pool in our part of town? Why?
And
Why
those
can't we
were
go to that swimming pool?
and those were like teenagers and 20-year-olds and maybe early 30s. That's what you're talking about.
Even younger.
Even younger.
For the
Okay.
most part, we considered I was at the time in 1963 when I came to Tuskegee. I was 16 years old when I arrived there,
Okay.
and that I turned 17 that summer, but that we considered people who were in their 30s as really pretty old.
Okay. There you go. Okay.
So we were very young, but the lovely thing about being young is that you then can be determined too.
Yes,
And
yes.
so we had ideas about, we loved sitting around talking with each other. This is before there were cell phones, before there was much in the way of television, no movies to speak of or anything.
Yeah.
So you talking with each other, reading became really important. We would then, somebody would get a book. Michael Wright, for example, had come down from New York, and then he then said, "Oh, you should see this book." And we started reading the book. We started talking about it, and that would spark a conversation. If we read something that James Baldwin or Richard Wright or someone had written, we began to think about what was the significance of that thinking for people at Tuskegee.
Excellent, yeah. So, and in doing that, you're starting to get, aware of what's taking place around you, and like you said, and what was that with that thing with the sit-ins? Because I understood that had something to do with some of the motivation with people too.
Sit-ins.
Oh, absolutely. And the nice thing, and that's one of the reasons I like the word, the movement, because it is something that suggests that this was not something that just happened once or in one place. It was like a river of change.
Wow, I like that.
Constantly flowing.
Yes.
So that, for example, in the 1950s, then, of course, right there nearby in Montgomery, you had the Montgomery bus boycott. And Martin Luther King and others became very active, particularly black women, who then was, using the example of Rosa Parks, said, wait, why do I have to get up and give my seat to a white person? I paid money to ride this bus.
Come on. That's it.
And why must people my skin color sit in the back of the bus?
Yes. There you
and
go.
so people, and it was just thought of as unheard of for somebody to define that. That had been the tradition. I mean, I grew up in a South where in Birmingham, Alabama, when there were white people on the sidewalk, you were supposed to, if you were black, you were supposed to get off of the sidewalk so they could walk on the sidewalk.
Wow.
Okay.
And there was a point at which we young people began to say, wait, this doesn't make any sense whatsoever. We have the right to walk down this street, to walk on this sidewalk, to ride my bike here.
Come on.
And so we began to define some of those things, and that was part of the movement. Another aspect of it, starting around 1960, was when some of the students at some of the colleges, like in Greensboro, North Carolina, and in other cities in the Carolinas, South Carolina, North Carolina, Fisk University, students began to say, oh, we're spending our money in Woolworths and Kresge's and these stores, and they have soda fountains, and they serve white people, but they won't serve us. If we want a sandwich or something, they're telling us to go to the back where they put the garbage out.
Wow.
And they have a little window back there where they will in for the same amount of money that other people would pay for a hamburger. They want us to pay to eat from a place where they have now just put it out there to us. We're not supposed to sit here at the lunch counter.
Okay.
So some students began to say, let's challenge that. And those students then had demonstrations, and it was agreed that because the numbers of students, these were small groups of students, 4 or 5 young men or women in their teens and 20s, and they would say, we're outnumbered, so let's not think that that we can fight our way through this.
Right, right.
Okay.
So they adopted a policy of being nonviolent and going and making the point that they were protesting the fact that they could not eat in this place, have a Coca-Cola in this place, but that in Woolworths and all of those stores, but that they would not, if they were pushed or anything, they would not try to fight back.
Okay.
Because then everybody worried that could escalate into a level of violence, particularly with the police and the state troopers,
Okay.
where more people would be harmed. So there was a woman who worked for the NAACP named Ella Jo Baker.
Yes, okay.
This,
Legendary,
This
yes.
Baker was a remarkable leader. She was very eloquent, and that she traveled around to many places in the South working to recruit people for the NAACP.
Okay.
And then one of the things that she did when she saw all of these students with these protests and demonstrations and sit-ins, she said, you know, it would be great if the students could meet with each other to coordinate their work.
Right.
Oh boy.
And so she went to her alma mater. She had been a student at Shaw. She had graduated from Shaw. She went to Shaw in Raleigh, North Carolina, and said, could we have a conference here? And so that became the founding meeting for the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee.
Okay, you might want to say that one again. Yeah, so that sounds significant right there now. Yeah.
Okay.
It's the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. And so the letters spell out SNCC, and people started calling it for short SNCC.
Snick. There you
Snick,
go.
yeah, Snick.
Yep. That's it.
And John Lewis was, who later became Congressman John Lewis.
Okay.
He was one of the students from Fisk, who had come from Fisk University. He was originally from Alabama, from down near Troy.
Come on.
Diane Nash, who was from Nashville, too. She came from Fisk and went there to this conference. Marion Barry, who later became the mayor of Washington, D.C.
The mayor of Washington, D.C., y'all. Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
You had a number of young women and men from all over, primarily the South, that went to this conference, and that was the founding meeting of SNCC.
Snake.
Yes.
Later, some of the people who'd be most associated with SNCC were people like Stokely Carmichael, who later changed his name to Kwame Ture.
Okay.
But before we go to him, I'd like to just mention the courage of these people, the young people.
Absolutely.
Because they also said it's interstate bus travel. There are laws against segregation on those buses.
Right.
We should take a ride and ride down to Alabama.
Okay. Now that
And by the time they got to Anniston, the Klan and other white supremacist groups had attacked those buses, set one bus on fire, beaten a lot of people, and the press saw what was happening and did cover it. And so sometimes for the first time, there were people in other parts of the United States who saw the kind of racial violence that was a real part of life in places like Anniston, Alabama, and other places.
Yeah, and those were Greyhound buses. We're not talking about somebody leasing a bus. We're talking about regular, like a Greyhound bus that you would take from one place to another, just like you might take a plane or a train or something like that. Yeah.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. And that was one of the more popular forms of transportation because planes were so expensive.
Come on.
Most people, if you were a college student
Come on.
and that you were going to Tuskegee, but you lived lived with your family in Detroit or in New York City, it's quite likely that if your family didn't drive you down, that you would then end up taking a bus.
There you go.
What the prices was back then.
Yeah, the prices were high. I'm going to tell you, my freshman year in college up in Ohio, one of my buddies up there, his name was Manny. He was actually from Southern California. And when we all went home for Christmas, he had stayed through Thanksgiving and Christmas, and he would not be able to go home possibly till the next year.
Wow.
Okay, because like you said, the prices were sky high. They, you just didn't have the money to travel unless not getting on a plane. Come on, DJ Booty Rush.
I got a question to ask you. I know these days now that Greyhound, it has a bathroom on the back of the bus. Okay, now back in those days, was a bathroom on the back of the bus, and if it was, well, you guys was able to use it along with the white people as well.
Okay.
And quite honestly, I don't recall.
I don't think that.
Because I grew up in Birmingham, and so when we would travel, we would sometimes go, like if we went to Tuskegee, then we go in our family car.
Okay,
we were very fortunate in
that's
that
how
way.
we travel. That's how you travel. Yeah, that's it.
And that we also, that our family would go on long trips, and my brothers and I were just incredibly lucky because our father would do things like when in 1955 when Disneyland Disneyland opened, he said, "Oh, let's go there."
Wow.
And he packed us in the car, and we drove all the way from Birmingham, Alabama to
Anaheim.
to Los Angeles.
Los Angeles. Wow. Wow. That was that's like what, 4 days?
Yeah,
wow.
a couple days. Yeah.
Okay.
More than that, we spent probably more than a good week in each direction.
Yes,
Wow.
Yeah. And then we thought, we were little kids, and we thought, oh, this is so much fun because we're camping out. We had a tent, and we had a
okay.
stove.
There you go.
We
There you
didn't
go.
realize that we were camping because there were no hotels for
There you
us
go.
to stay in any of these places.
Absolutely, absolutely. I know we would go to Detroit, and we always had to leave early in the morning. And the first place we stopped was Chattanooga, Tennessee. And Jennifer, you love this one because we were going up 31 all the way up to Tennessee because there was no 65. And I didn't know what was going on, but there was a black woman in Chattanooga that had some little bungalows, and that's where we spent the night.
Okay.
Then we drive from there to Cincinnati. Now, when we got to Cincinnati, we stayed in the Sheraton Hilton, I might be saying it backwards, hotel upstairs. Had TV in the room and everything. Now the bungalow just had a bed and you was in there. But we got sometimes we get room service up in Cincinnati, but because we had to cross the Ohio River from Louisville to, and Jennifer knows this, from Louisville into Cincinnati.
Okay.
And therefore we crossed, what was that, the Macon, I'm sorry.
Mason-Dixon line.
Mason, come on.
Mason-Dixon line.
You're familiar with that, eh? That's it, yeah. Louisville, you couldn't, but now once you get to Cincinnati, oh yeah. What would you like from your room service?
Wow, all of that.
There wasn't no room service not for us, in Louisville or anywhere.
Yeah. And then when you read like the works of people like Toni Morrison, who talk about that, what that line, that division between the South and the North and that way meant for the people of earlier generations. I mean, it was life and death.
There you go.
That was when people started talking about following the North Star
Watch
to
out.
escape from the enslavement of plantations in the South. That was the way they were heading north because of that. And north sometimes meant you keep on going into Canada.
Come on. That's it.
But that's part of that kind of movement
Right.
of
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. So.
And that we have found that sometimes that when things are so bad and the quality of our lives is so challenging,
Yeah.
that one way of dealing with it and staying alive becomes to move.
That's right.
Oh, okay.
To
To,
move.
Mm-hmm.
and
Better land, better. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
and
That's.
it's quite fascinating. It's really some fascinating history in learning about some of the places, some of the black towns and areas that were created by ambitious and courageous African American women and men.
Yeah, there you go. That's it. Yeah, yeah. And a lot of them became literally using the blueprint from Booker T. Washington with the village of Greenwood and so much. And that's where Grambling University came from. That's where Utica in Mississippi came from, and also Voorhees in the Carolinas. And it actually, even contributed to what took place down in Eatonville, down in Florida, even though they had already been established, but they established a school system there. So, Jennifer, how did some of the Tuskegees, you talk about the sit-ins up in the Carolinas, what was happening with the Tuskegee students there? I know you talked about the incredible discussions they had and the informed discussion. I love that. I hope everybody got that. In other words, they were already studying and reading and everything, and then looking at the situation through these informed eyes. So how did that turn into action? Go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yes, and that Tuskegee was in a circumstance that was quite unique in many ways, because Tuskegee was right in the middle of what is considered the Black Belt.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And it was called that in part because of the richness of the soil that runs across from Georgia all the way through Alabama to Mississippi. And it was also, though, because the large population of African Americans. That's one of the areas where, because the soil was so rich, that there had been a lot of plantation and people using slave labor.
Okay.
And so, as a consequence, then the majority of people in those areas were black residents.
Right.
They were black.
Right. Gotcha. Okay.
And that they were lived in poverty, many often as sharecroppers, very few as landowners, but there were some landowners too. But a lot as sharecroppers. And as a sharecropper, it meant that you worked on the land of a white plantation, and that they could then, if they felt you weren't delivering enough cotton or whatever product you were harvesting, that they could then expel you from that land.
Okay.
And
See.
Wow.
Wow.
You'd be homeless. Yeah.
That's
Just kick you out. Just kick you out. Okay.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So in by now, in the 1960s, 1963, that people were talking. There was the discussion of change was very much in the air, where people really wanted to see change take place. And it was not just it was in the music as well.
Okay.
You go back and listen to the music of those times, you'll find that the singers were talking about that, and that there was a lot of, as part of the political movement, you also had the cultural movement. You had what they called the Chitlin
Chitlin
circuit.
circuit. Okay, come on now. Okay.
Explain that.
And that was
Explain that.
where,
Yeah.
in the same way that you mentioned, Guy, that there were these people like the woman who had the place in Cincinnati and other places that where you could
Chattanooga.
stay
Yeah.
hotels in Chattanooga, that there were clubs and things too. So people like Count Basie or B.B. King, all of those, these musicians to get their music out in front of people, they moved around and played in these different places.
Okay. Okay.
And so there were clubs and hotels and places, restaurants, from Harlem all the way down to, the middle of Florida.
Okay.
You'd have these places and people would, but people, in addition to spreading the music, they were spreading ideas as well.
Okay.
Messages.
Yeah.
And an
Messages.
important group in transporting those ideas were the Pullman porters.
Okay. Now you got to back up on that one. Okay. Everybody get that one. Pullman porters now. Okay.
The Pullman porters. The Pullman was a type of railroad car because now people were traveling, beginning there were more and more railroads and people beginning to travel from New York all the way to Chicago, from Chicago to Los Angeles. And so you could sleep on the train and the type of car you sleep in had been designed by this company, the Pullman Company.
Okay.
Based in Chicago. And the interesting thing about it was, there are many interesting things, but the people who worked, the African American men who were the porters, the red caps of the porters on those trains, they would bring newspapers from New York City, black newspapers, from Chicago, like the Chicago Defender, Baltimore. They would bring newspapers and they would give those and deliver them to people in other cities where there were no black newspapers.
Wow. And let me just highlight that a little bit, because in the regular newspapers that they had out there that were white, by the white press, they would have like a colored section. You know, that would be like running down the side. But that didn't tell the whole story, okay? That would tell some things, but there were certain things they couldn't say because they probably wouldn't print it.
Right.
However, there were some innovative black people back then, like they've always been, even all the way back to Africa, that actually created their own newspaper. And like she was saying, how do you get that out? Because, some of the regular ways of getting it out are not going to work because it can be blocked and whatever. Somebody see it, they not going to let that shipment go out.
Right.
Now, here was an innovative way. And by the way, the porters were like, you could say like a stewardess on an airplane, except these were the men on the train, you know. And I remember how some of them, they would take the place down where you could sleep and everything. There was another one come through with a bell. He actually put on a white jacket and rang the bell to say the dining car is ready, if you want to go in and eat. Just different. They get you an extra pillow and look after you and things. And, especially younger people. Sometimes people put their nephews and nieces or grandchildren on the train to go down to visit, somebody. And so they would look out for them. So, but like I said, but here's an innovative way that they were able to still distribute these newspapers. That's just innovation. Okay, that's like people finding a way, So, like I said, and circulating and getting information out. It wasn't about television and radio, but like I said, we had to get that printed word out. And by the way, there was at one point a newsstand on campus between the Oaks and the library, right across from the administration building. Because that's where somebody talking on this microphone right now, yours truly, would get his 10-cent, I don't know if I need to tell this, but 10-cent comic books, okay? And they had the nerve to take that thing up to 12 cents, Jennifer.
Wow.
They took it up to 12 cents. Now, what's a boy going to do now? Okay, so, we had our way, like I said, to get it out. And I guess
that was an important thing, the whole, that kind of communication through the porters and through the ideas that were coming from one newspaper in one city to another. It inspired people to create their own newspapers. And it inspired people who make a photographic record of their community.
Right.
So you had the famous Polk photos
Come on.
right there in Tuskegee.
Come on.
And you had other photographic studios in New York City and other places that have given us an incredible museum quality set of photos of the times in which our people lived.
Absolutely,
Wow.
absolutely. Those are permanent records that are out there. You'll see a lot of them online. And Pope, he was one. They actually had a photographic department on campus, and he learned from Beatty and some of the earlier photographers that Booker T brought in.
Okay.
Booker T was very specific about having pictures done and what was in your background.
Okay.
He always had like a bookshelf or a
Okay.
globe or a map or something like that, certain pictures on the wall.
Okay.
Everything was, so that you're not just letting the press come up with an image of you.
Right.
You're setting your own
Image
image.
of you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That was smart.
Yeah.
And that was how it had did, and that's the strategic thing that was happening. So, as the students got involved in Tuskegee, what were some of the things that they were doing to kind of change this narrative, not just the narrative, but what was taking place out in the community? Because they had it pretty good on campus, but because you had the swimming pool under Logan Hall, and you had all the recreation facilities and one of the best libraries in the whole state. But what were some of the students doing once the movement got going, that they started becoming a part of it?
Well, Tuskegee obviously had so many wonderful aspects to it. I mean, there was wonderful quality about it. And Tuskegee, because there was the VA hospital, there was the training facility for the Tuskegee Airmen, there were the schools, the professional schools like School of Veterinary Medicine, School of Engineering. You had all of this. It was a magnet for an incredible range of talented men and women, and that then meant that it just began to grow too as this enclave of very cosmopolitan, well-read, intelligent people who were then the people of Greenwood, the people of Tuskegee. And their children then became some of these students who then grew up in that environment and who then would leave Tuskegee and go to New Hampshire and Connecticut and other places to schools because their parents wanted them to understand that the world was bigger than segregated Alabama.
Right.
So you had, at the same time, the contradiction was that you had this little oasis of Tuskegee with all of these black businesses, these black professionals, but right around it then you had some of the worst of white racism, and then you had George Wallace right next door as the governor of Alabama. And you had people who were beginning to say, look, we should integrate these schools, not just high schools, but we should integrate the colleges too. And so George Wallace was determined that no way in the world would a school like the University of Alabama ever be integrated. And the same was true of what they were saying in Mississippi. Oh, no way, Ole Miss is never going to be integrated. So students began to see that, oh, okay, here are some of the things that we can do. We can look beyond our immediate school and our situation to think about what is available to us as students in this state, in this county, in this state. Why are we being deprived? We paid tax money, we paid for all of these things for this state, and yet the resources, if you look at a state budget, then the University of Alabama is certainly getting a heck of a lot more than Alabama State.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Yeah.
And but the restriction is that if you're black, you can go to Alabama State, but you can't go to the University of Alabama. So the students at Alabama State, at Tuskegee, and at other schools all across Alabama, Georgia, and other places began to say, these are some of the things that need to be changed. We need to get rid of this kind of discrimination in buses, in public facilities where we are paying tax money. We have sent the military, our soldiers, our black men and women have lost their lives fighting in Europe.
Come on.
In Asia.
Right.
And then they come back here and they can't even go to a place across town.
Okay.
Right.
Come on.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you begin to have people who are saying enough is enough and let's make a change here.
Watch out.
So you had students then beginning to think that, okay, let's start getting involved in changing this circumstance. And you had, we were very fortunate at Tuskegee to have some people both in the community and on the campus who would then say, well, now you kids don't be hot-headed here. You need to think about what's your strategy and what are you doing and why.
Right.
And for instance, Dr. Gomillion was one such person. And you had to give him credit. We thought, he's an older man, and so we figured he's conservative, but we also realized that he had stuck his neck out a few times to try to make changes.
Okay. Yeah, Charles G. Gomillion. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And then he had even had a case where he started registering people to vote and talking about how that's one of the ways in which we can get change. There should be this part of that, it should be an aspect of movement, which is voting.
Yes.
And we have the right to vote, and that we should then seize that right to vote and get political change. And when the whites in the Macon County area saw what was happening, they then redistricted. They drew up the line for voting so that the black people were, there are 2 over here, 5 over there. But they separated them in a way where they would not have any power.
Yeah,
wow.
Put 4,000 eligible black people out of Tuskegee. So
4,000.
Right.
4,000, and then kept 12 of them. I guess to say, we didn't eliminate everybody, and then they kept all 1,000 eligible white voters.
Wow.
There were 4,000 eligible black voters. Just redid the line and included Tuskegee Institute.
Right.
Tuskegee Institute was no longer part of Tuskegee when they drew the line. I mean, that's like you said, that's amazing, and that's some determination.
Right.
You're gonna put everybody out. That's kind of rough there. That's rough.
And I think that they were quite surprised that Dr. Charles Gomillion had the audacity to say, "Oh no, we're not going to get
right.
there.
Come on, ain't going out like that.
Right.
Yeah, not going out like that. Yeah.
Right, we're going to fight this in the court," and that he took it all the way up to the Supreme Court.
And that shows everybody. I mean, this needs to be a exclamation point on why voting is so important.
Right.
If they will literally put you out of your own town, okay, and even later on and find out beating up people and intimidating people, if it's that important, then that shows that we need to keep doing it,
right.
Because that's something that people protect their money, they protect their valuables, their jewelry and things like that, and here they are almost doing the same thing for voting.
Right.
Then maybe there's some value in this. Go ahead.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then we, Tuskegee students, there were some of us who began to say, okay, we'd like to do something beyond the campus. Some people wanted to be Deltas or AKAs and Kappas and join the sororities and fraternities. But then there were some of us who also said, but we like to break down some of the inequality that we see if you go out into the rural Macon County, and you see this incredible poverty and people who can't read and write.
Come on.
We were very fortunate in the same way that we had Dr. Homillion. We also had Bert Phillips, Dr. Phillips,
yes,
who was the Dean of Students at the time,
yes,
in the early 60s, and that he then had the idea that, you know, here was the Peace Corps being praised all over the world for what they were doing, and that we could have a program right there in Tuskegee where students from Tuskegee could help other people, help black people in rural areas learn to read, learn math, and everything. And so that became the TICEP program.
That's it. And at first, you got to realize the President of the United States sent somebody to talk to him, to either call him up or write him and say, look, be careful, because the first name for it had Corps in it, and said they don't want them to mix up the Tuskegee Institute with the Peace Corps. They said, we're starting this new program, so they didn't want them to mix it up. Like, wait a minute now. If he had the name first. But anyway, go ahead, Jennifer.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that.
So, but fortunately, Dr. Phillips, Dean Phillips, Dean Bert Phillips, did not let that stop him.
Come on.
And that he then encouraged and became a nice kind of, provided a nice bit of leadership to students, to us students, so that people like Gwen Patton or Ruby Sales, Sammy Young Jr., any number, George George Davis, George Parrish, a number of us students became interested in talking about, well, what were some of the strategies that we could use to make change, and how. So voting was going to be one, and then helping to improve the economic and the literacy, the social conditions of people in the rural areas was another. And so TICEP and tutoring through TICEP became a part of that. And while that doesn't sound like, whoa, that's not radical, it was something that immediately connected all across Alabama, because then the same kind of work that was being done in Macon County started taking place in Lowndes County and these other counties all the way over to Selma, where Martin Luther King by now was beginning to start drives towards getting the right to vote.
Absolutely. And what you're saying there is how neglected black people were anyway, but definitely they were neglected in the rural areas. And here came this help. That was fantastic too. And he actually recruited both black and white students across the country for that. You know, it was about 100 that came in. So it was amazing. You know, and it transformed lives. It didn't just transform the lives of the people they were working with, like what Jennifer just said. Actually transformed some of the lives of the students. To open your eyes.
Oh, it very definitely did. There are, from time to time, there are reunions where people, some of the students, some of these are white students from St. Olaf's and other colleges in Minnesota and Wisconsin. They came down to Tuskegee. They went to Lowndes County and to Mississippi. And as we know, sadly, some people lost their lives because of that. You know, whether it was Viola Liuzzo, who was killed in Lowndes County, who had a woman who was a housewife from Detroit who came down to help drive people for the march on Montgomery. Or you had the three young men,
Shaney, Goodman,
and Werner, who were then killed right after they had, you know, sort of set foot in Mississippi. They went out to investigate a church bombing and burning, and were never seen again.
Wow.
Yeah, and let me just quote again from Diane Nash, because see, most people don't realize when a lot of the different groups like SCLC, you might have heard of that, Southern Christian Leadership Conference, that had like Abernathy and King and Young and some of the others, and then also the NAACP. These are much older people.
Right.
Okay, these are like you could say the parents and the grandparents, whatever, out there working. When they would come in town, and this is what she quoted this from Jimmy Carter, president that just recently passed. He said that when the Klan heard that the NAACP was coming in town, they knew that they would be there so long, and then it'd be like, maybe in another week or so, they're going to do an activity, and then they're going to be gone. They're going to come from everywhere, and it's going to crowd. But then said when the SCLC came, they'd be there maybe for a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks, do a big campaign or whatever, get on the news, and then they're gone. But then when these young folk come, when these, that didn't bother, but when the young people came, the SNCC people came, and they came, they just came, and they were like the difference between, say, a fly that got on you versus rubbing your hand in some poison ivy.
Right.
Them folk didn't go away, okay? They actually lived there among the people, and they were there. And then you look around, there are more of them there. And then you look around, a year go by, and they're still there, okay?
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't go away, and then they got even more effective in what they were doing. It's like, and they were scared. They were not scared. They were scared of these young people when they came to town. So it's like, you can't get rid of them. They just stay. But anyway, and the bad thing about it is, I know I don't know if we have time to talk about it, but the training that they got, they knew the law. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And matter of fact, I found out from Trepp, who worked with Stokely, said, and I know just like Jennifer did, and all the different ones, and also James Foreman, but he said that in Atlanta, they had a warehouse that had all the different laws of every different state, the Constitution, everything. And what they did, they got some of the law students from up north, some of the eastern colleges, whatever. They were black, white, Jewish. They would come down and they go through those things to find out what it took to actually be able to vote. All the different things. Then they break it down into language that even an illiterate person could kind of understand. That you could use as just on one sheet of paper. And if I say Jennifer, if I say mimeograph, I think we might have lost our audience because I don't know if everybody knows what a mimeograph machine is. But the whole thing, they put it on that paper, and it might be front and back page, but it will be, it's something that they could read, or somebody could use it to teach people very simply what the complicated law is, what passage they may need to memorize to pass the nonsensical long tests, crazy tests to be able to become a voter. But
absolutely. And one of the things that I'm most proud of, Guy, and DJ Woody, one of the things that I'm most proud of is that I then use that same approach to help people become interested and willing to run for public office.
Wow.
And this was in Lowndes County, Alabama.
Come on.
And you described the process quite correctly, that we had a SNCC in its headquarters, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, SNCC, had in its headquarters building on Nelson Street in Atlanta, Georgia, in a warehouse-like area. It had a printing press, and it also had this space where then we could do all of this research, and that we had an excellent research director named Jack Minnis, M-I-N-N-I-S. And that
Jack Minnis.
He then we would get we say, when people in Lowndes County, we say, well now, what we're going to, they said they wanted SNCC. They asked Stokely Carmichael and asked SNCC people to come to Lowndes County and help them. They wanted to get the vote. And now back then, this is now back in 1965, 64, 65, and that Sammy Young and George Paris, several of all of us would go over to Lowndes County. We drive over there, and then we canvass the fields over there trying to get people to go and register to vote. After we get enough people to say, oh yeah, I'm willing to go and vote, then the question became, now what are you voting for?
Okay. Come on now.
What's the purpose?
Okay.
What's the purpose of this vote? And then they say, well, we need what we need is a decent sheriff.
There you go.
We need a tax assessor who's not going to cheat us.
Yes, there
we
you
need
go.
a coroner who's not going to lie and say the man with that rope around his neck hung himself.
Okay, come on now. Break it down. That's it.
We need people, honest, good people who can run the county government.
Watch
and
out
then
now.
they said, well, what about you? What do you mean? What about me? I don't know how to. I don't know what the sheriff's job is.
Right.
So we got the information about what the role of the sheriff would be, and that I then drew those like a comic book.
Okay. That's what Mao did in China. Go ahead on. Okay.
Comic book.
Yeah,
like Guy Trammell, when I used to take my 10 cents and go and buy a comic book.
Okay.
Enjoy that, and we felt, and so Cortland Cox and I then designed a series of books. We did one for each of the offices that we were going to run for.
Beautiful. Now let me just punctuate that again, because in China, all the different tribes there spoke different languages.
Okay.
And so Mao, to get elected, what he did was he knew that they couldn't speak to each other, but he knew he could make comics, and then everybody you're looking at the picture, and so that's brilliant. Absolutely.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Like
That's right. And was Cortland was Snick at that time?
Cortland was with Snick at that time.
Okay.
I was still with Tuskegee.
Okay.
But I was beginning to, every day I was a little less Tuskegee and a little more Snick.
Watch out. Okay, watch out. You saw more than need and everything. And you gotta finish your story, but make sure to go back to that thing with the sharecropper, because I think you all put up a small city there, I understand. but go ahead.
Yes, to make sure that people would be safe, we raised some money and created a tent city.
Okay.
That was right off of Highway 80 in Lowndes County, near Whitehall in Lowndes County. And so that people stayed there, and that then people would come and protect them with, because people wanted to shoot into the tents and everything. And so there were people who would stay out there at night and with their guns to protect the people there.
There you go. Because again, you're messing around now. You're trying to get some black folk registered to vote, and then you're going to have the nerve to run from office, and now you're protecting the ones who got kicked off their land, and for different reasons and everything, and now they're all together. It's like, oh, we can't let them get together, because then if they start coming together, okay now.
How many people was out there at Tent City at one particular time? At the most that you've seen there.
And so in Lowndes County, it was really interesting that when we were doing all of this, the people in Lowndes County, they said that they wanted their party, the Rooster, the Democrats.
Okay, wait a minute. Okay, did you hear a Booty Rush question too? Let me see. One more time.
No, I didn't.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was asking about at approximately how many people that was at the Tent City that held. How many people that it held when y'all did do the Tent City when y'all had the Tent City, when y'all established the Tent City? How many people that it held? How many people was living there in the Tent City?
Approximately, maybe.
Approximately. Give me just throw a number out.
Probably
I
changed.
think at any one time it was probably about like 30, 40 families.
Mhm.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And,
approximately,
and you
yeah.
got to realize when she was saying before about if the crop, didn't get as much whatever,
Right.
then that means it's in the fall because that's the harvest time.
Right.
And what comes after fall, I do believe, is winter.
That's right.
Winter.
And so if you don't have you're not on your land, which means you're out of your house.
Right.
That is not a good situation
That's
at
right.
all.
That's right.
And so, like you said, they really needed that, and that was bad. And the great thing, like she was saying, to get those tents,
Right.
because if you're getting ones that are military grade, then they can deal with the heat and stuff
Right.
like that. To warm you up.
Okay.
But go ahead, yeah. So
I
that.
just had that question. That's all.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's go back to that chicken that we should have put in the pot and cooked it instead of let him get on the
White
voting
chicken.
pole. But go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, so that chicken, the white rooster, was on the voting. It was that was the icon for the Democratic Party in Lowndes County at that point, and it was
Dixie
had a
Democrat.
motto around it
Yeah,
that said
Dixie Democrats,
white
right?
supremacy.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Said white supremacy for the right.
Mhm.
And so one of the people in Lowndes County, one of the black people who was thinking about running for office, said, you know what we need for our symbol? We need a mean black cat to run that white cat.
A mean black cat. Oh.
And they called each other cats back there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that became the Black Panther.
Okay, there you go. That's the first.
And
Yeah.
that the people from California, from Philadelphia, from other places, young people, young militants came down, and that they then were so impressed with the kind of courage that the people in Lowndes County had, that they then went back and started calling their party the Black Panther Party.
There you
Wow.
go. That's the next
Okay.
year. That's been 1966 at that point.
Okay.
Yeah.
After that.
Yeah, but they
That's
heard
correct.
they heard about what the Tuskegee students and
Right.
others doing there with SNCC, and they took it other places. But that Panther was
Right.
born right there with the Lowndes
Lowndes
County.
County.
Yeah.
That white rooster.
Exactly.
Yeah, he was
So
ready to
here's
eat
the
up the.
conservative center.
Yeah, he was ready to eat up that white rooster, by the way. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
And then for your listeners, I'll send in the information. There are booklets that can be downloaded where they can see the images that I'm referring to
Mm-hmm.
as well.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
And she drew the first Black Panther.
Oh, she drew it?
Absolutely.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
well, I wouldn't take credit for it. I drew it, but I did not create it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Because, quite honestly, it was a college, HBCU's football mascot.
Okay.
Clark Atlanta. But she took him and put that bad boy back in the rural areas of Alabama and set him on a war path to be able to get out there and bring something
Right.
later. Which what were those two words that came from Willie Ricks that y'all started sharing with the world after y'all
Black
did it?
power.
Come on now, do y'all hear that?
Yeah.
Black Power started right there with those black students out there in Lowndes County. You hear me?
Okay. Black
I mean, it shook the
And
world.
then
Go
And
ahead.
then Stokely and Mukasa Riggs,
Mm-hmm.
Willie Riggs, were on the March Against Fear with James Meredith. He had been shot his first day of marching, and so other
That's in
leaders
Mississippi.
had decided that they would join him, and that when they stopped in Mississippi, that they were on the back of a flatbed truck. And somebody said, well, what is it that you want? And Rick said, we want black power.
There
Wow.
you go. Come on now. There you go. That's it. Yeah, he was marching trying to, get into a college and everything. But hey, it's like we're not gonna stop. And like I said, they weren't waiting for anybody's permission to get out here to demonstrate. That was a demonstration, like you said,
Yeah.
to go across the state, right? I mean, they weren't walking down the street to get some ice cream cone. They were.
No.
That was a truck. That was a truck. TREK. and they were letting the world know, hey, hold up, the time out for segregation and things like that. In other words, if we want to go to a public place, if it's a school, store, whatever, we should have the right, because that's what the new law says. You know. But time out for just sitting back waiting, for you to decide that, okay, since the law says it, I guess I'll let you know.
Right.
These young people were they were rocking the world, Yeah.
Man.
So, yeah.
And so, and of those young people, there were all of these people like Sammy Young, Lindy Paris, Samuel Schultz, Eldridge Burns, lots of young people from Tuskegee, and who had either grown up there in Tuskegee, like Kathleen Neal, who became Kathleen Cleaver, because she became later married to Eldridge Cleaver with the Black Panther Party, but she was right there from Tuskegee. There were all of these, there's a host of people who became part of the movement, and who then decided that, like myself, decided that we're leaving school to work, to try to find ways in which we can then get more equality, better rights for our people, and that we'll return to school at another point.
That's it, And that icon you see of the black woman with the afro, and a lot of times she might have some sunglasses on.
Okay.
That is Kathleen Neal, who became Kathleen Cleaver, right from Tuskegee and everything. So, yeah. So so how did it start evolving? In other words, did it as time went on? Because again, you're working, for the different ones to register to vote. And what were some of the other ways that was kind of moving on? Because I understand you all got into some things called land and other things like that. Especially in Mississippi and places. How did it go forward?
Well, there were a lot of really very, very smart and talented people who were a part of the movement, and that, as you mentioned earlier, some people came from elsewhere but decided that they would stay. They wanted to do good work right there in Mississippi, and that they would stay, or in Alabama. So you had groups like, there was a man, John O'Neill, and he and another guy, Gil Moses, and a woman, Denise Nicholas, and Doris Durham. They created what became known as the Free Southern Theater. And they then had the idea of using all the skills, the talents that they had learned working in Hollywood and in New York and the theater in New York, to bring drama and stories to people out in rural areas.
Okay. Wow.
And so they come through and put on plays, and the kids would just delight in seeing these things.
Wow. Beautiful. Using the arts to really carry the message and reach the people. And then you're taking it to the people. You're not sitting it up at the capital city where they got to come way down the road miles to get there. You're bringing it. Wow. That's amazing. And down through the years, that real movements have always kind of embraced the arts to get things across. Because I know Trap collected a lot of the posters and things, that would have that up there.
Wow.
And that visual thing.
And posters and design was an important part of it too. Make it beautiful.
Yeah. Come on now. There you go. And to change that narrative, when people start saying it, because even to the point, I know if I say this with Booty Rush, say it loud.
Black and I'm proud.
Okay, see that?
Black and proud.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then
exactly.
black is,
Beautiful.
Yeah. But it had to start someplace. I remember the I Heart New York, I Heart NY, But before that, it was Black is Beautiful, and So That's amazing. Yeah.
Like the bears with the juice.
Yeah.
So
Using
it
it.
was really nice to see it sort of ricochet around the world, because it wasn't just Tuskegee, of course, that was affected.
Right.
And then you had, it changed the culture, too. I mean, you had people who began to say, well, we should have a sheriff, too.
Watch out.
We should have a county officer, or we should have a mayor.
Come
and
on.
you began to have far more people running for office all over the country.
Okay, come on.
You know, now when we go to the Atlanta airport,
Mm-hmm.
it's named in part after Maynard Jackson.
Okay, come on.
You know, the citizens of Atlanta, you know, think of him as someone who contributed a great deal to making Atlanta the place it is today.
Watch out. There you go. Yeah. And that's real movement. To be able to even imagine that back in the day probably was too much to even think about, probably in the 40s. But yeah, that is truly amazing. And I know a lot of us had certain experience. I know I did the day I was glad I was not with anybody when a certain Obama was inaugurated. Okay. You know, because I used a lot of tissue that day.
Right,
So,
right. Everybody cried, man.
Come on now.
Everybody cried.
Yeah, and that, you
It was an
know.
exciting moment.
Yeah, and so it was all across, like you were saying, the movement was actually taking place, and it wasn't just in one spot, and it wasn't like, okay, I'm gonna wait till you finish over there before we start over here. It was,
Right.
yeah, just oh wow.
And a
Yeah.
little earlier, Guy mentioned the mimeograph machine, which was a way of, it was like a desktop publishing. It was our best way of being able to run off an image or a page of print.
Okay.
And you'd have to do it manually by hand. You'd have to make the circular motion.
Wow, you got all of that? Wow.
That was how we used to make ice cream too one time.
Right,
So
right.
you gotta work that thing. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You could end up with good, strong arms.
I'm ready to make some bread after that. Okay, that's all right. Yeah, but I like how you put that, a desktop publisher. Go ahead. Yeah.
So that was one of the ways in which we, you know, because we were talking about a time. I know it's hard for some of the people who are listening to imagine that there was a time when we did not have cell phones.
Right.
But we did not.
Right.
Yeah, because that was something you really needed, because there was another aspect to that, because I know that was something Trapp did. He had to raise money for bail, you know. And because a lot of times, I just say, you know, what Jennifer been talking about, the intelligence here, these were planned out events.
Right.
And therefore, they knew that they would get arrested. It
Right.
wasn't like it wasn't. A matter of fact, they wanted that to take place
Right.
because of certain press situations. If you can get that in the press,
Right.
then that starts to sway what takes place. And then somebody has to raise the money for it. And then you also have to have somebody who's a attorney, you know, ready to file the whatever you got to do, you know,
Right.
to call them in, you know.
Okay.
And I know there was numbers to call, and that relates back to what Jennifer just said. You had to have that dime in your pocket to go find that phone.
That's right.
And know where it is. You know, the phone wasn't in your pocket. The dime was in there,
That's
but
right.
then your legs had to take it. That was to get to the phone. So but that was it. And they had a number to call.
Okay.
And I guess it was mostly back to the headquarters, and then they would, I guess, get whatever help. Because that was one of the strengths I know of SNCC. Whatever help you needed, you know, you could get it, but you first had to find out what the help was that was needed, I guess, in the area too.
Okay.
That and
Right,
I'm
exactly.
going to just say this, because this is the thing I found out about it, was that SNCC, when they came in, it never told anybody what to do.
Oh, okay.
They were there to listen, learn, work with the people, and then whatever was needed to make it, whatever they were working on to make happen, that was the thing, you know.
Right.
And I heard about some of those meetings Jennifer, I heard they can kind of go all maybe 2 or 3 days if necessary to get the decision made where it was consensus. I guess after a certain while, people just say, okay, I'll go your way because we got to end this meeting. but I know there was some strong, in other words, this was some strong, I was about to say philosophy, but it's not that, but I just say the concepts and things like that. In other words, strategy.
Right.
Because they knew this was about
exactly.
this was about people. This was not just some kind of game being played.
Right.
They knew these people. They were living with them, learned to love them. This was basically something they called the beloved community, and they all cared about each other and everything, and the people they were working with. This was not a division type situation.
Gotcha.
It's not like, oh, well, I can leave this and go off. So no, this was part of them, and therefore, when they were making decisions, they wanted to make the right decision that would actually do the most good for what they were trying to achieve. And so, a lot of strategy, and you're talking about some intelligence being applied. I mean, that. Jennifer, that was one of the most in-depth, I'll say, educational experiences anyone could ever have, because you're in it day and night, and then you're seeing, how can I say, the things coming at you, and then having to deal with that. You're literally out-thinking what the ones, who are trying to do to stop you, to stop any progress from doing.
Right.
And so you're getting that. And you can always call, like you said, you can call somebody who's more expert in legal matters to find out, I guess, and do the study like you were saying. But
no, it's incredibly resourceful, and that we are still connected, which is a wonderful thing.
Beautiful.
And that, and like I say, I'll send this to Guy, and if you would please share it with DJ Booty Rush and put on to share with anybody who might be interested. But there are free brochures and things that can be downloaded from the SNCC Legacy Project website.
Oh, okay.
And that will have images of some of these things and information about the people. So there's a ton of free information that is readily available.
Okay, and let me just mention that if you go to Macon, M-A-C-O-N, Progress, PROGRESS.net, or if you just Google Macon Progress by now, you should be able to get there, and on that front page is just what Jennifer just said, everybody. You can go there and get either the portal or the legacy. Both of them are there. The one is above the other. It's on the left side. If you use your phone, it's going to be, you just scroll straight down and you'll see it. You also, if you keep scrolling and go on the second column, you actually get where you can listen to DJ Booty Rush on the radio too. But the whole thing is, both of those are there. Also, the other one that she mentioned with Dean Burt Phillips is there also, and that's the TICEP website. It's brand spanking new, and they actually they're putting some of the oral histories that have been up that they're putting on there, and but that, like I said, she just talked about the resources and everything, and but you can also watch, some of the videos and everything. Just look for makingprogress.net. And all the videos of this that's going to be on there. You can click the button that says Discover Tuskegee Macon Videos, and that will take you to the YouTube channel for that. Everything's on Macon Progress, plus a lot of history and everything. And we're going to try to keep that up, because that we're in a time. We're in a strange time, but although it's almost a repeat of what Jennifer just talking about back during Wallace's time,
right?
Because they were coming to actually, they were sending the National Guard to literally destroy the campus back during her time, and Burt Phillips stopped them. They were going to come on campus and just start shooting. They had ballistic missiles, everything, bazookas, which is not. What do you need that for, to put down a student rebellion? Okay?
Right.
But they were coming to get rid of just destroy, just shoot up buildings and everything, just blow everything up. But Burt Phillips stopped him. He actually put his body in the way of all that. But again, there's information there on a lot of the different things, makingprogress.net. And we're going to continue to put information up there. It's also where you can get it. You can go to Roland Martin's network, the Black Star Network, to get news. Also, where you can click on to get black products if you want to shop black.
Okay.
I guess everybody knows about the 28th of this month,
right.
And so we're trying to make a statement. Hopefully on the 28th. Everybody just don't shop that day, But anyway, we might talk more about that next time. But the whole thing is, black women in this country actually spend $1 trillion a year. Actually, more than that. Trillion. So if black women alone stopped shopping for a couple of hours, okay, it would be felt, okay.
Wow.
And definitely for a day. Oh my goodness! And I'm thinking down the road, maybe Black Friday need to be real Black Friday,
right? And
everybody just shop at black-owned. Anyway, I'm getting a little radical. See, Jennifer, you're wearing out. We're putting some of that radicalism on us. Okay? We gotta be. Let me step back from that a little bit. But we gotta learn, and even leading up to the 28th, they said shop at some mom and pop places.
Right.
Instead of the national. If they say that, just like what C.G. Gomillion she was talking about, when they said that they didn't want us in the city limits to vote, they didn't want us to vote.
Right.
They said, fine. Well, they don't want our dollars.
We don't want us to shop.
That's right.
Yeah, that's it. And the boycott in Montgomery with Rosa Parks, who was born right on campus, by the way, Tuskegee, Johnny Andrew Hospital. Rosa Parks. When they had the boycott down there, that lasted about a year. Okay. The one here lasted 4 years.
Wow.
4 years.
Wow. 4 years.
And 70% of the white businesses failed. Okay. 70%. Okay. Because they just said we're not going to sell. Now there's one business in the county, and I always want to mention this: a white business. Okay. But they looked at the dollar and they noticed that it was the same color no matter who was holding it.
That's right.
And so they continued to treat everybody the same to this day.
Right.
And they to this day have some of the best prices on meat and produce, and some of the best products out there.
Right.
And that's a place called, let me see if y'all anybody ever heard of Carmex out there?
Carmex, that's right.
Carmex up in Minnesota.
That's right.
They have never discriminated, okay?
Right.
They have always seen humanity as humanity, okay? And those type places we have to reward, just like you got Costco and places like that never did go into DEI. And I'm not trying to promote things, although I definitely I'm not getting nothing from these places. Okay, what is that, what's that term, Jennifer, let me see. I don't have any connections with any of these businesses, okay? So I'm not trying to advertise. Yeah, but
no conflicts of interest there.
yeah, no conflicts of interest. There you go. Come on, Booty Rush. Yes.
Okay, Miss Jennifer Lawson.
Yes.
We have our Judge James Cooper. He just texted in just a few minutes ago. Our probate judge just texted in a few minutes ago. Judge James Cooper. He said, "Man, wonderful. We have an informative radio broadcast this afternoon, Brother Guy. That movement," he said, "that movement, and who is the young lady that is speaking about the SNCC program?"
Okay.
So that's going to be Jennifer Lawson, Judge James Cooper.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
and again, she was telling the story of the Black Panther.
Yes.
And it started when she was down with the other Tuskegee students in Lowndes County, and she was able to be the artist to help take one panther and make it into the Black Panther,
Right.
that had to eat up a chicken that was trying to be a Dixie Democrat, saying white supremacy for the right. Said no, they ain't gonna be the right, the left, no place.
Right.
Put the Black Panther out there, but that you're right, and you can look her up online.
That's
and you'll definitely see her if you go to makingprogress.net and click on either of the SNCC places. You'll see that. Plus, you can go to click on the button at the top that says Discover Tuskegee Macon to go to the videos on YouTube, and you can see the video she made about the Black Panther Party earlier. I think that was last year. Was that in 2024? I think, Jennifer.
Yeah, I think it was a couple of years ago.
A couple of years ago, yeah. So that's out there too. And of course, there's others, a lot more out there too. You'll find out her background. If I started on her background, we would run out of time. So I was trying to focus on just one little aspect, but it's not a little aspect, because that movement gave so many people hope.
Right.
Gave them, and that's the one thing we can't go. They said that's one thing you can't live without. You can live so long without water. You can live so long without food. You can actually live so long without oxygen.
Right.
But you can't live a second without hope.
That's right. Yep, you're right.
And here they were giving hope to people who have been kicked to the side, kicked off of their land, in the cold, okay, with their families. Now, I mean, could you imagine? You got children and everything, and you don't know where you're going to sleep tonight.
Wow.
You know, you just kick your stuff just sitting on the side of the road, and here these students came, made a city for them.
Wow.
And so much more. You know, these are students made this day. You know, see what I'm saying? And when everything else is failing, you got some other people out here who's saying, no. And that's what I'm challenging everybody who listens. Everybody. You know, I don't care what color you are, what anything about. I'm just saying, where you are, if you're listening anywhere around the world, at WUBZ right now, what Jennifer and so many others have done during that movement, as like she was saying, teenagers and 20 years old, just getting started, everything, and they saw something that they needed to do something about, and they did it. You know, we can't sit back. You know, that whole thing of apathy that somebody else gonna know. It ain't about nobody else. This is our time. You know, yeah, things can look bad other places. I mean, they had Lester Maddox over taking axe handles over in Georgia, beating up folk. Wow. They had Jim Clark just running over people out in Selma with the horses and everything. Then you had George Wallace, who's setting the troops, the state troopers on you. You know, to just beat you and stop you and everything. I mean, every different way. They even were doing that to the students. These are some of the Tuskegee students when they protested Bloody Sunday in Montgomery. They actually surrounded them, didn't let them go to the bathroom, anything else. You know, just trying to intimidate them out there, just trying to speak their mind and use their right to protest, to say this is what should be done. And the thing is, if they went through all that with that, and then, like you mentioned, Sammy Young had been through the military, been through the Navy, lost one kidney, then he started losing part of the other. They had to operate on him. He only had part of it. If he'd have had a head cold, he would have died. If he'd have drank hard liquor, he would have died. You know, if he got struck on that side, he would have died. And yet, he was out there with them. In the cold and everything. And I'm saying these others, we don't know all of what, you know, ailments they might have had too. But the whole thing is they risked their lives. She mentioned that earlier. Something she didn't say, I just say this because literally in SNCC, they would a lot of times write out their obituary before they went out into the field. Okay? And because I know James Foreman talked about what he wrote the book on Sammy Young. By the way, you can download that the book on Sammy Young on the website also. Just click on the part that mentions Sammy Young on the side. And the thing is, they knew what they were facing and everything. But the whole thing is they saw a cause bigger than them. And they said, we're gonna go out there anyway. So, like I said, what she's talking about, this is real. And I wanted her to paint like she was using some broad strokes. And I love it, Jennifer, to really show how broad this was. This was not just one place. It was not just one group of people. It's not just, you hear those same names all over. She was naming names a lot of people probably hadn't heard. And we're recording this so you can go back and watch it again and get these names. These are people who risked their lives so that we have what we have today. Had to push that needle a little bit farther. Now, I know some folk pushing it back. That's all right. Because, you know, when you do that, that makes us stronger. Because that gives us that, you know, when you're pushing, when you're doing your sit-ups or whatever you're doing, you're getting stronger. And that's what happens. The best of us comes out in these hard times.
That's right, absolutely.
And out there listening, everyone listening right now, if you got 1 ear, 2 ears, whatever, it doesn't matter. You have something to do in your community right now to make things better. And it's up to us. It's all of us. One person, they can be stopped, but all of us can't be. you know, and it's up to all of us. But go ahead, Jennifer. What kind of?
Yeah, you kind of preaching a little bit here. I like that.
Okay.
I like that.
Listen, Jennifer, what?
But thank you again, DJ.
Yeah,
Both of you.
Yeah.
DJ Booty Brush,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
want to thank you and
Thank you.
Guy Travel
Yes,
for
always.
this evening
Yes.
and this opportunity to talk with you about these things. And Guy, I think it's wonderful
Thank you.
that with the MaconProgress.net, there's such a wealth of information that's online for people to go to, and that, yes, I do hope that they will go from there to some of our material
Yes.
about the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, and because I do think that it is inspiring. Things get bad and can be terrible,
Yeah.
but it also can inspire people. You know, I just used as an example the number of people, a large number of people that turned out after the murder of George Floyd.
Yep.
All over the world.
Across the world. I mean,
Wow, everywhere.
that shook the world.
It did. It really did.
That's it. And similar is what you all saw back with Emmett Till too. And I remember even that in JIT. You know. Yeah.
Yes, and if I don't want us to lose people
Come on.
in order to see what, you know,
Come on.
a movement can be, but
That's right.
I just think that
Yes.
it
Preach
is
that.
important for us to take our time to learn more about what's possible
Yes.
and to keep moving forward, to be inspired and keep moving forward.
Absolutely. Oh, you said so much right there. Thank you.
A mouthful.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you,
Oh, my
thank you,
goodness.
Miss Jennifer.
Yeah.
Well, thank you both. Thank you,
Yeah.
DJ Rush.
Thank you,
Absolutely.
thank you. Great show, great show. I hope that guy could get you back pretty soon, you know, and give us some more information to our listeners in our community, because this was a great story. I know you have plenty more up under your belt, and we would love to hear more about some of the great stories that you and SNCC SNCC. I just say SNCC then, have done, because this is amazing. This is amazing. I really enjoyed it, and like I said, I hope you can come back again.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Well, thank you again, DJ Booty Rush.
You're
I'm
welcome.
really,
You're welcome.
really pleased to be here tonight.
Thank you. Thank
All
you.
right, appreciate it. Okay. All right. She knows this is always her home.
Do you actually? Does she want to give a shout out to anybody while we got?
Yeah. Did you want to? Yeah. Bruce
Jennifer.
just wanted to ask you. Want to give? Go ahead.
Miss Jennifer, you want to give a shout out to anybody while we got you live on air? She's still there.
Oh,
Can you hear me,
Yeah.
Miss Jennifer? Can you hear me?
yeah. I
Okay,
can hear you, but my mind is blank right this minute.
Okay.
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 Well, she gonna shout out. She gonna
Everybody.
shout out the legacy, because that's the newest. The portal was already out, and then the legacy came right after it. Right, I think a couple years after.
Yes, and I just wanted to also, though, say that Guy and a number of other people there in Tuskegee are doing a great job of keeping Sammy Young Jr.'s memory alive.
Gotcha.
And that I think that with their success, there will be a wonderful place where we can go and celebrate
Yes.
him and his contribution to in the future.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we got some relatives of Sammy Young listening, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
So,
Okay. Okay. That's what we want.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Okay, Guy, you want to give a big shout out so we end our program real
Well,
quick?
I just shout out to Macon County, like I said, greatest county in the world,
County in the
and
world.
all you wonderful listeners and everything. And like I said, this is the greatest station in the nation.
That's
and
right.
We're just gonna keep it going, and we got something special to end the month out with next week.
Okay.
And actually, well, I'm not gonna spoil it, but it's gonna be good, you know. And I say Jennifer laid the motion, and we're gonna top it with some, I would say whipped cream, I don't know, or whipped potatoes or something. We're gonna take this sweet potato pie and put something good on it. We're gonna sprinkle a few pecans on it. How about that? Okay, we're gonna make it good. All right then.
I want to give a big shout out to Miss Jennifer Lawson for coming on this airway and sharing this beautiful a story with our community. Some of the stuff that she has shared with us today that we have never heard of and did not know about it. And that's a good thing. This information is very important that you gave to our community and all the people that's listening all around the world. So we want to thank you, Ms. Jennifer Lawson, especially everything about this SNCC. That's a very beautiful, story that she gave about all that and the other stuff that she gave. And we would like to welcome you back at any time that God wanted to bring you back on the airways, and we can be able to share some more stories that you have too as well. And also, Guy, I want to give you a big shout out too as well for coming on here every Wednesday, man, with some of this powerful information that our people need, man. It is so beautiful. You always have something great every Wednesday about Black history and much more. So God, I want to thank you because you could be doing something else, but you choose to come on this radio station and be able to bring all this great information, Black history, to our audience. You know, stuff that we never heard before and had no clue about, that you have it right here. And you bring it to this radio station so we can be able to get it, process it, and digest it. You know what I mean? So I love that. Also, I want to give a big shout out to my wife and kids. I love you guys. I want to give a big shout out to the guys at this radio station and keep this thing flowing. And that's our radio manager, Sylvester McPherson. That's the communicator. The co-pilot, Andre Fields, and myself, DJ Booty Rush. We have the radio station rocking and rolling in our whole entire community and all over the world. This is the best station in the nation. We got it right here at this location. Thank you, guys. Thank you, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miss. Thank you,
and
Miss
good
Lawson.
night. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
All
Okay. Appreciate you.
All right, that's the end of our program for today, but that's not the end of the whole entire show. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for listening. We have a caller calling in right now. So let's see who we got calling in here this evening, guys. Let's see here. We got a caller. Good afternoon, caller. You're live on that way.
Well, good afternoon. I thought y'all wasn't gonna get me.
Well, it kind of hard.
I have to apologize.
Can you cut your radio down a little bit? Cut the radio down a little bit. Your radio.
Oh, okay. I'm sitting too close to it.
Yeah. It echoing through the
Hold
system.
on just a moment.
Okay. But you can cut the radio down a little bit so we can catch that echo not coming. Let me cut this down real quick so she can cut that down.
You
I think
got
it's the
that
mother
down?
of the ship.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's a lot better. Lot better.
All right. Well, I wanted to say I'm busy because, you know, let God know that getting ready to travel to Carolyn's service.
Yes,
Oh,
yes, sir.
okay.
Yes. Our condolences still. Our condolences.
Definitely. Yeah, prayers with you.
All right. I want you to let him be sure he knows that.
Yeah, he knows.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes,
all
ma'am.
right, then. I'm
Okay.
busy trying to find. They're trying to get. I know they're trying to do it. Oh boy.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Take your time.
Well,
Take your time.
Gee, but it sounds that's an I know it was interesting because, and I just hate when I can't, get the whole thing.
Right.
You know, but some of that stuff, somebody just gonna have to give me a book with it in, so I
Okay.
know.
Let me, Mother of the Ship. We just recorded, so get Ella to pull it up. I give her the website where she can be able to pull it up, so she can let you listen to the whole entirety. The one that we had last week and the 1 week before that, and we can give her all the information so you can be able to sit and watch it.
Oh, all right then.
Yeah, we'll give all the program,
Okay.
the link where she can watch all of it. You can watch all of it.
And prayers and love going
Oh,
with you.
okay then. She hadn't been long coming from the dentist. So.
Okay.
Oh, good. Yeah, you.
We can get that
Whatever it
information
is
to her.
that you.
Yes, we can get that information to her.
All right then.
We'll be praying with you all the
Like
way.
I said,
Okay.
Okay. I said our condolences goes out to your family, Mother of the Ship.
oh, thank you so very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so very
Yes,
much.
ma'am.
Yeah.
Because I tell you, this is real hard this time.
Yes, ma'am.
With me.
Yes.
But I mean,
Yes.
but you know, I try to live a Christian life. I don't talk it. I just try to live it.
That's
There
right.
you go.
That's
There you
right.
go.
God he let me see it, but I just didn't know who.
Right.
Yeah,
I got you.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
But,
All right.
oh,
Yes, ma'am. We'll be praying with you.
Yeah.
yeah, thank you.
We'll be praying with you, praying for you.
Thank you. Yeah, some of the people that knew of her, new mature girls that
Mhm.
you see. I still haven't heard from Shirley White yet. Oh, yeah, that's another person I need to hear from is Hornbuckle. What's her name? Ruby Hornbuckle?
Ruby
I think
Hornbuckle?
when we were in school.
Okay.
Yeah, Miss Hornbuckle.
Okay.
Okay.
If
Okay.
she could look me up and come, I don't know if she listened to it like this or not.
Okay.
But I would like to hear from her. But anyway, just want to let y'all know that I be trying to listen to our good stuff.
That's right. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
But anyway, y'all continue with the good programs. And I always say, be careful in your traveling around because it's so dangerous out here now.
Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Yeah. You
Okay.
stay safe also.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
Right there. Thank you.
Okay, great travel.
Have a good evening.
Okay.
You
Yeah, I'll be
too.
safe
All
on
right.
that road, okay? All right. Okay.
All right, yeah, we're going to go up the road by car and go and listen to everybody pray for
We will.
safety like I'm asking God to keep us safe for the air. We got
Yes.
Right.
to fly.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right.
Absolutely.
I wish I had been thinking and asked them to check with what's the name? The musician. I mean, who is that big man? I wish I had thought about that. Since they always traveling.
Oh, you're talking about the Clark brothers? You said Clark brothers? You said Vic?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Clark
Yeah.
brothers? Oh, okay.
Okay.
How they travel?
Yeah, I
Like,
wish
the,
we had.
oh, okay. Like a
They
book.
always going, and I think they have that would have been a very.
Yeah, they do vans and stuff like that, little small buses. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Well, all right. Thanks for listening to
Okay.
me.
All right. Y'all have a safe trip up there.
All right.
Okay. Have a safe trip. Okay.
All right. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. You're welcome. All
Thank
right.
you.
All right. Bye bye. Bye bye.
All right. Bye bye now.
All right, the mother of the ship, she always check in on the program. You see that,
Yes,
you got
yes.
always. That's
Yes,
the mother
sir.
of the ship.
Mother,
Big
that's
shouts
it,
out
that's
to
it.
her.
Love her.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, now we are through with our program for this evening. We've got Trammelman, the legend in the building, y'all. Always give us some great information. Like I'm talking about, it's always good. And God's gonna be coming here every Wednesday in the month of February, Black History Month. And then we got some other stuff that we're going to be doing too as well. And we'll let you guys know a little bit about that a little later on. Let me catch this phone line one more time, y'all, before we get out here and see what it is. Good evening, call you live on that way.
Good evening, Booty Rat.
Hey, man, what's going on? This got to be 0056. Joe
I
Snipe.
had to come and shout out the guy.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What's up?
How
How you doing?
He's over town here, the Brit from Westbrook.
Oh, you going way back. You took me back. Okay, that's an ancient time
Man,
there.
God told us everything we didn't know of where he kept on lead us, push us. I can't even describe.
Yeah,
Got some of the Brit. Got some of it. It's off the chain now.
yeah, yeah.
He taught us the Brit too.
Taught me too, man. I'm telling you,
You know,
man.
we had some to follow, and then some, you know, they go off some distance and
Right,
stuff like
right.
that. But everybody love God.
Everybody love God. That's one lovable guy. I tell you that. I tell you. You said a
And
mouthful.
you know who we love even more?
What's it?
His mom and dad.
That's right.
Oh,
Oh, yes. Yes.
Now they let us come in their house up here to have Sunday school.
Right,
Come on
right,
now.
right.
Come on
right.
I
now.
got something in no joke, but I just had to feel sorry. God, I'm gonna holler at you a little later on the real man. We're gonna sit down and have some
Absolutely.
things up real.
Yeah.
All right. Now you taking
Man, I love
everybody.
you there, man. I wouldn't know
Love you too.
I don't know what we would be. Our Sunday school would be the if it wasn't God's trump.
Oh,
That's right. That's right.
And you took me way back now. Okay.
What you call that guy? What you call that? That's history.
That history.
Come on now.
That's history itself, man.
Oh, my goodness.
That's history
You
itself,
taught me
man.
God family and taught me well.
Oh.
You taught me and taught me well.
Okay, bro. Watch out. Proud of you.
Real, thank you for having me.
You're welcome,
around
bro.
the real man.
Every Wednesday, bro.
Real man. Thank you.
Thank you too, bro. Thank you for calling in. Yes, sir.
And the only thing I gotta say else, the real, we need to clean up Tuskegee.
Come
We
on.
should be looking like this.
Gotcha, boy. All right, now, hey, 0056, I holler back at your way. You gonna call me back later on? All right, bro. All right, bye-bye. Hey, Joe Snipe, man, in the building, man. And just like he was saying, man, you know, guy, you have in our community. I don't think it's I don't think that the trophy shop can actually really make an award to fit you. You know what I mean? Because from what you have done the miles and the time that you have put in and grew and put seeds in so many young men like myself. Joe, you just heard Joe, and even kids under us. You know what I mean? You can't describe it. It's hard to describe, man. You're a blessing from God. I'm telling you, a blessing from God, and you know it, but you don't know how much. You know what I mean? And people will talk and say, "What when your name come up? See, when your name come up, it's always something good. If God involved in anything, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be positive. Anything that you involved in is gonna be good. It's gonna be positive. It don't matter what it is."
That's Macon County. That's Macon County. Like I said, hey, being here is a blessing. All the people are an incredible blessing, and hey, that's just it. You know, and God has blessed us with all of what we have here in Macon County. And I'm just enjoying it. It's wonderful. Like I said, Joe and everybody.
We got another phone call. Let's see what we got here. Let's see what we got another phone call here. Good evening. Calling live on airway.
002626.5.
0026. What's going on, 0026?
I'm just calling to give a big shout out to guys
Yes.
for all of the informative information, the history of a place that a lot of us live in and don't know part of what you think.
Right. You brought some information out. And this stuff is right there. We don't know, but we live here. We from here. This stuff that we don't know, that we need to know it though. It's what we need to know. We need to know it.
And see, I lived here. I grew up here, even though I moved away and came back. But a lot of the information and the history that God speaks about, I didn't know.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
That's the soil that we come from.
And like you said, it's things that we should know.
We should know. But if somebody got to tell you, somebody got to teach it to you. You know what I mean? And he's the man. He is the man to do it. We want to thank you, God.
Oh yeah, that's the walking encyclopedia
all day.
And we got others.
But like I said, I'm not gonna hold you up because I know guys got to get out.
Right.
But anyway, guys, I know you're still there. I just want to thank you for the awesome job that you do every Wednesday. And even on those other days besides Black History Month that you come in, you always do an awesome job.
That's right.
I appreciate you, But like I said, we're sharing what's here. That's the incredible history that's here, and you're part of it. That's what's made us.
And I'm going to listen. Because Booty Rush will tell you, I don't miss a beat.
You don't miss a beat. You don't miss
a
beat.
I love it. That's beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah, appreciate you.
All right.
Okay.
But like I said, I enjoy it.
Thank you, Ms. Pat. Appreciate that.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That's Miss Pat on Lake Street. That don't sleep. That don't go to bed. Don't miss a beat. 0026, 026 and a half. And I just said all the way just like that, guys. We got a lot of double O numbers.
And there are a lot more historians around Macon County.
Okay.
And we're gonna be highlighting them.
Okay. Let's do it.
There's a lot of, like I said, a whole lot of history. Just running everywhere. We gotta know it.
Okay.
Yeah, but
okay. All right, God. Thank you very much, God. I'm gonna play this song here. I know God got to get out of here because his equipment and everything getting knocked down. And we want to thank y'all for tuning in to another segment of our Black History program with Guy Trammell. Man, we're going down in the history. We'll call it Macon County Thoughts, Tuskegee Talks. You know, I like that kind of cool, you know what I mean? I kind of catch a little bit. I like that guy. I like that. Macon County Thoughts, Tuskegee Talk. It kind of catch. Just something a little catchy, you know what I mean? When we come up with an idea, y'all let us know what we can call this thing, because this is very, very important. That guy coming here every Wednesday and give us this beautiful information that we do need. We need it. We need to know this stuff, man. The purpose of this information in Black history is to put pride back into us. You know what I mean? For where we come, for where we at, and be able to be proud of what we have. The history. We have history right here in Macon County, Tuskegee, Alabama. You want to stick your chest out, because it used to be times where you can go anywhere in the world and then they said, where you from? And you poke your chest out like Superman, so I'm from Tuskegee. And now you got people who want you, you become a superhero because people want to ask questions. They want to know more about Tuskegee. They are enthused about where you from, and they just want to get to know you now because you told them you from Tuskegee. That's how strong the impact that Tuskegee have on everybody around the world. This is the biggest little town in the world.
Come on.
The biggest little town in the world is Tuskegee, Macon County, y'all. I'm telling y'all. So thank y'all for tuning in to that segment. So we're gonna play this song called "All of Us" right here, and then we're gonna get on out of here with that segment. But you know this Hump Day, y'all. Hump Day, Shake It Rump Day is going down today. Right here, 100.7 WUBZ. It's your boy DJ Buddha Rush in the building. This song is called "All of Us." Let's go.
Working was a time we didn't escape. Socially injustice,
right.
we see face. Will we ever become one? I'm glad you asked me. This is my response. It takes all of us to do our part. It takes all of us. That's where we can start. It takes all of us. Together we can change. It takes all of us. No more pointing blame.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
You got it.
Put your signature on this right here.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Another good show, guys.
Oh, excellent.